Well, we have now know who exactly is going to be playing in MLS Cup 2021, and there's an old saying in soccer or football that this sports could sometimes be a very cruel thing, and in the case of the Philadelphia Union, they will feel like they got very hard done in this game by NYCFC because for majority of the game they were the better team, and this depleted Union team with a lot of kids that were playing in this game, they show a lot of grit, need tenacity, and show a lot of determination that they were going to get this one done and kind of pull off a miracle to make it to MLS Cup. But unfortunately, they kind of ran out of gas in the last 15 minutes of the game. And for NYCFC, while they were the better team for majority of the game, they capitalized on the Union fatigueness in the latter part of this game. And also, let's safe to say that Ronnie Dela, he clearly outcoached Jim Kern in this game. I mean, especially some of the substitution decision that both of these head coach made was clearly in favor of Ronnie Delia in this game. But early on, and before we talk about the first half, so we already know that the Union are very shorthanded in this game, though most of the player that is shorthanded for them was actually in their back line. So their goalkeeper and pretty much their entire back line is out for this game, so Matt Freese has to step in, followed by Stuart Finley, Nathan Harrow, Arian Collins, Jack McGlynn, all getting their first start in the playoffs. So in some way, I will say that, as much as the Union is kind of depleted, most of their starters on the attack in the midfield was still in the starting 11. I mean, it's just the back line that is kind of depleted for this Union team, and I thought maybe that is kind of the reason why they didn't really look like a team that was just going to get overwhelmed, because we know that this Union team has a very good midfield, and that for the majority of the game, that midfield really shut down this NYCFC attack. And obviously, NYCFC, we know that Tati Castellano was not available for this game because of that red card that he got against New England. So here comes Abear getting his first start and getting a chance to shine in this one for NYCFC, though I didn't think Abear had a good game in this one, and he rarely was a factor for the majority of this game. But in the first half, Jose Martinez blazed it almost all the way into the Delaware River, so he was trying to reenact in terms of those Nashville SC penalty kick taker of his opportunity. I mean, I'm sorry, Nashville fans, but you knew that was coming with the way that your team weren't able to convert a penalty kick in the last round. But I thought it was a very positive start for this young and inexperienced Union side. 7 minutes in the game, they thought that they got a penalty when the crowd wants a shout for a penalty there, but it was not given. There was some tempers flare as Martinez and Medina, of course, exchanged choice words. I mean, it has to be Martinez basically instigating the situation. He's considered one of the biggest hothead in the league, and you know that he is a guy that also kind of play on that knife edge, and throughout this game, you can definitely sense that, I think if you're Jim Kern, you like the fact that your number 6 is showing that emotion, but there's also times where you're kind of nervous with the way that, again, with how Jose Martinez always walking on a thin rope. There's been times that he definitely was walking on that thin rope and almost fell down with some of his aggression that he's shown throughout this game. But nevertheless, in the 11th minute, McGlynn did drive one that goes straight to Johnson. They showed that Commissioner Don Gabber was attending this match, and he was talking to a couple of people in the luxury suite section, and I am feeling something tells me he's probably saying, "Thank God that the Portland Timbers is hosting the final," because imagine if I'm basically watching this game after when RSL, of course, were able to pull off that upset against the Portland Timbers. He must be very sweating, and almost in some way he's probably wearing a Union jersey under his suit, with the way that he better hope that the Union does win this game, because as I said, it would be such an embarrassment to the league if MLS Cup was going to be hosting at a baseball stadium known as Yankee Stadium. But NYCFC did start to dominate possession, but they really couldn't do anything of this opportunity. In fact, despite the fact that at one point they were dominate possession, that is 70-30 in favor of them. 30 minutes into this game, they still failed to register a single shot, and a lot of that has to do with the fact that the Union did a good job in terms of suffocating this NYCFC attack, but also just NYCFC kind of play right into the strength of the Union. Like, they just keep trying to go through the middle on the attack, and that's exactly what the Union want NYCFC to do. So in some way, if you're an NYCFC fan, you probably are very frustrated, but also at the same time, you're basically shouting at your players that why not just play on the flank and trying to spread out this Union defense. But in the 36th minute, the first shot was finally registered by NYCFC as Callens hits it wide from close range. And then on the other end, Shabilko puts a weak shot straight to Johnson. It was another poor game for Kasper Shabilko, who, I think he's going to come back next year, but I'm pretty sure a lot of Union fans are not going to be happy with how Shabilko is coming back for this team with the way that he was pretty much invincible throughout this playoffs. But that being said, the Union were doing a good job, as I mentioned, suffocating this NYCFC attack. But we do head to halftime scoreless between both of these teams. So we go to the second half, and in the second half, the Union almost got a goal 30 seconds in after Johnson had to deny Flock after just a terrible giveaway from NYCFC. And I thought the Union, once again, was on the front foot early, though Medina did hit one straight to Freeze in the 52nd minute before Amundsen fired one high in the 56th minute. And all of a sudden, the momentum will swing right toward NYCFC favorite. And I think Ronnie Daly kind of understand that because he started to bring on his subs and bring on his cavalry, as Forensen, Tajuri Strati, and Magno was summoned into this game. But instead of what NYCFC were hoping of them getting the opening goal with the momentum, the Union would actually gets the opening goal in this game. And unfortunately, it's an own goal that was scored by Collins in the 63rd minute to give the Union a 1-0 lead. But take nothing away from that delivery from Stuart Finley, who puts it absolutely on a plate there. And I think it was not sure if it was Leon Flock, the one that, if Collins didn't get in the way of that, I think Flock would have just tapped it into the back net. That just shows how good of a delivery that was from Stuart Finley. But nevertheless, the Union, despite the fact that, the momentum looked like was with NYCFC, they got the opening goal, and I thought that was really the moment where they can potentially hold on for the remaining of this game to move on into MLS Cup, but unfortunately that lead lasts barely less than 90 seconds, because after that, Maxi Morales would score from Tajuri Strati to tie the game up at one apiece. I mean, that was just not good defending whatsoever from the Union. And in some way, Matt Freese, I think he's kind of at fault at this too, because he did kind of allow a bit of a rebound and allow NYCFC to kind of have that second phase of the attack, which they were able to capitalize. But Flock then fires it wide from long range in the 68th minute, and I thought the Union did respond well after giving up that equalizer, though Freeze had to deny Collins, who had a free header, and once again he did kind of allow a bit of a rebound, but Magno wasn't able to punish him this time, as on that follow-up he puts it into the stands. And I also kind of wrote the fatigue was starting to show on these Union players. Like, not only the fact that I thought that back line for the Union was started to show some fatigue, because a lot of guys from this back line from the Union have never played a game, so go to play in a very intensive game like this in the playoffs for 90 minutes, it's not going to be easy. But I also thought that the fatigue was also showing on this midfield and on this attack too, because you got to remember, this is the well, for most of these players, they have played over 300 minutes in these past 3 games. Like the Union, they were on verge of potentially become the first team in the playoffs to play 3 straight extra time. And I know even those throughout these games are kind of spread out in a way where it's not like as condensed as we see in the regular season, but when you play that many minutes in the past couple of games, yeah, it's going to start to take a toll on you. And I was also kind of wondering, where is the subs for the Union and for Jim Curtin? And I'm pretty sure the Union fans were also asking the same question, because up to that point he only made 1 sub in this one, and none of the subs that he made was really attacking sub, where in a game where, yes, NYCFC did start to get into it, but why not put some attacking sub, and why not trying to go for the victory so you don't have to go to extra time once again? Though that being said, in the 86th minute, the Union thought that they got the go ahead and probably the winner in this, and I'm pretty sure Nathan he thought that he got the winner and be on the headlines of the paper tomorrow, as he had a free header from 7 yards out, but he just could not put that one on target, as it missed just high. And not only the fact that he's definitely going to be thinking about that for the rest of the offseason, but that would turns out to be a huge miss for the Union, because on the other end, Tallis Magno would score from Forensen to give NYCFC a 2-1 lead to completely break the hearts of the 20,000 that was attending this one. I mean, well, the 500 so NYCFC fans was going absolutely bananas. Yeah, you can definitely hear a pin drop at Subaru Park, which I thought throughout this game. I got to give a lot of credit to the Union fans. They definitely bring the energy, and that this was probably the loudest I've ever heard from the Union fans at Subaru Park. They even mentioned the fact that this was an attendance record that they had in this Eastern Conference final. But yeah, that is got to be a heartbreaking goal to concede and give NYCFC the lead. They did had a huge shout for a penalty in the 3rd minute of stoppage time, as Fontana felt like he was brought down in the box, though I think that was not the case. I think that there was not enough contact in terms of that for me to think that should have been a penalty. And in the end, NYCFC were able to hold on to win 2-1 in this game, and the shots in this one, even though NYCFC did had more of the shots than the Union has, don't let that fool you. The fact that for a majority of the game, NYCFC really didn't get going until the latter part of this game, and that's also when I mentioned the Union really started to show, or these players from the Union started to show the fatigue and started to kind of make some mistake. The shots on goal were 5-3 in favor of NYCFC. 5 shots off target for the 4 that the Union has. Both teams had 1 shot as block, and possession-wise, 35% possession compared to 65% possession that NYCFC had. And for NYCFC, congratulations, they're able to get to their first MLS Cup in club history, and I think it's pretty safe to say that they have really silenced all doubters, and probably including myself, where I've always doubted the fact that NYCFC with the narrative, the fact that they always getting eliminated in the first or second round and just cannot make it past this stage. Well, on their first ever try of making it to the Eastern Conference Final, they were able to win that, and now they're able to have a chance to win their first ever MLS Cup on their first ever try, and that they were able to do so. Then there's no doubt that they definitely end all that narrative of talk about the playoff fertility they had. And in some way, I feel like even if they don't win MLS Cup, they pretty much ended that playoff narrative that they can't get it done, because it's just been an incredible playoff run that they has. But for the Philadelphia Union, again, this has to be a heartbreaking loss, and in one that it's a combination of the fact that I think Jim Curtin, he did not make the substitution that he needs to keep his team with that high intensity. I mean, that intensity really dropped off for the Union in the last 15 minutes with the fatigues that they were showing, and once that happened, I just kind of knew that it was a matter of time that NYCFC was maybe going to get that winning goal, and they did exactly that. And I still think that this is still a good team, and that again, it's also unfortunate what happened in terms of coming into this game with them having half of their players on COVID protocol list. And we'll never know if those players were not on COVID protocol list, whether or not if it makes a difference in this game. But I have a feeling they're going to be back in this stage. This is a very good team, and that I know Jim Curtin will definitely learn from his mistake in this one. And also, I'm pretty sure that I'm maybe 95% sure that he's going to be staying with the Philadelphia Union. I mean, I know there's been that rumor of him going to FC Cincinnati, but I just don't think that's going to happen. I think he loves this team, and he loves the city, and I just don't think he's going to be leave this team anytime soon next season. And I'm pretty sure the Union next season, they will definitely will try to go again and hope that they can maybe make it back to this stage. But either way, let me know in the comments below, what do you think of this game? And like I said, the MLS Cup matchup has been all set, as the Portland Timbers will be taking on NYCFC in MLS Cup. And I of course will be doing the preview of that I think either on Thursday or Friday, but nevertheless, it will definitely be one of the most in-depth preview that I will make, because it's the biggest game of the season. I got to make a very in-depth preview talking about that game. But until then, hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you do, make sure you guys leave a like, smash the subscribe button, and yeah, I of course will see you guys next time with